Hey Aquarius, what's up? I'm using the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot deck for anybody that wants to know. We are starting off with King of Swords and we also have Three of Cups. Okay, two different ways that I can see this going. One is that you can be talking with a friend or somebody that you're friendly with, or they can be talking to you about a relationship that has come to an end and an exit from that relationship. The other way that I can see this going is that you could have come together with someone, but then things kind of happened and you may be deciding that this is not something that you want to take part in anymore. It can even be like maybe you go to a party and you have an interaction with someone and you're like, well, I don't really want to be like involved in the dynamic with them anymore. We have King of Swords, we have Three of Cups, which will be the actual coming together that's happening. But then having that Ten of Swords and having the Lovers, it's like something that happens. And it can even be with Three of Cups, like, oh, I thought everything was fine, or like it was so casual, I didn't think things would go in that direction, or this was supposed to be a good time and then it ended in like some type of bad time. Having the Lovers and having Eight of Cups will be like, I don't really want to be part of the relationship anymore, like part of the interaction anymore. This feels like it has to do with a one-on-one dynamic with you and another person. It can be something that you feel like you don't want to try anymore. It doesn't feel worth it. This can be an issue that was brought up that needed to be spoken about, but maybe you felt like, I wonder if something happened enough times where, yeah, it can be something where you were trying to get something from it, not in like a greedy type of way. It's more so like, you know how we get different things from relationships. I feel like in order for a relationship to be sustainable, there are certain things that need to be involved and need to be present. And you could have felt like this relationship was really lacking this. This isn't just like one time. This is a repeated thing where you're like, okay, this is clearly the norm of the relationship. And you could have felt like energetically insufficient. It was energetically insufficient for you to be involved in this. Like what you need in order to keep you connected, it feels like chronically, because I see this being a repeated thing where it's happened enough times that you like can base information off of this, where it's not just like a one-time thing where you get like mad at somebody or whatever, or like they like flake out on you or something like that. I'm not seeing it be like this. This feels like chronically the relationship has kind of left you in this spot that you can be like, maybe you feel like the person doesn't really like care about you as much as you care. Maybe you feel like you weren't being prioritized. Maybe you just felt like this person was kind of inconsiderate, or you could have just felt like I have needs within a dynamic if I'm gonna like take part in a relationship and give it importance, and this is not having that, like this person is not providing that. So this can be like a just a matter of like maybe incompatibility or something like that. I feel like this was going on for a long time and you may have before not been saying anything, but now you can be saying something. I feel like some circumstance happened that gave you the floor to be able to bring this up. And what you may have decided is that this is not something that you want to do because you don't want to keep doing this to yourself, and you can feel like this isn't really like good for you right now. I've been seeing in general some energies like this, and I feel like it's connected with I feel like it's connected with Venus and the South Node. The transit that probably by the time this reading is happening is going to be very much active. Yeah, some of you could have even felt like this person sort of forgot about you. The thing is, like, I'm seeing them come through, but that may not change anything for you. Like, you know, the way that this makes it seem, the way that this King of Swords is feeling to me is like, maybe you feel like this person doesn't really come around unless like they need something from you. But then you can feel like if you need something from this person, they're like kind of absent and not there for you. And that's not to like say anything about like this person or whatever. It's just to say like that can be the experience that you've been having. So overall, it can be something where it's like, maybe you feel like you're not really considered by them. But they may have no issue reaching out to you when they kind of want something from you, is the way that this is seeming. But I almost get, the way that this looks is kind of like I'm not saying that they don't care, but the way that they treat you, it can feel like they don't care a little bit, or like maybe like you aren't really a priority to them. Because at times you can be like, not doing so great, and it's like they come through and they're like, hey, can you do this favor for me, or do you want to blah blah blah, and it's like they're not even really checking in with you. The thing is that I feel like you would like for things to be different, but you can also be in a place of acceptance, and maybe this just is the dynamic with them. I feel like they leave you out of things. Like, having 5 of Pentacles be looking at 3 of Cups, but the 3 of Cups is more connected with their energy, and you're like on the outskirts of this. This can be somebody that they do things where it's like, maybe they're like going out, or they're having a party, or they're doing this, or they're doing that, and you can like not be invited. It can be something like that. But this can be something where like maybe the nature of your relationship, it's like weird that you're not a part of things. I don't know. I feel kind of like that sort of sentiment with this. And then I'm seeing them come through, but it's kind of like, it just feels weird the way that their energy comes through to you, almost like they don't really think anything of it, or they're not going to mention it or say anything about it, acting like everything's normal when like things aren't actually good. But I feel kind of like the way that this 3 of Cups feels to me is that this person, it may be hard to have like a more serious conversation with them, especially having to do with the relationship. Like, this can be somebody that they like to keep things more like light and fluffy, and when it comes to having like real honest talk about the relationship and stuff, they may not really like make themselves available for that to happen, so they can keep it kind of surface level, which there's no issue with that. You can just be feeling like that's an issue because that's not really your preference, which is totally valid. You know, they may be functioning in a different way than you're functioning, and I feel like because of that, because you're like operating from very different spaces right now, it may be having like a kind of a harmful effect on you, or something that like really doesn't feel good, and something that you may not want to keep putting yourself through this. So even though you can want things to be different with this person, you can also be like, I gotta accept that that's just like how they're showing up right now. And having that 8 of Cups, you can be like, it doesn't feel like it's worth it to keep trying anymore because this keeps happening. I'm seeing them come through, and I'm seeing them try to like open the common door between the two of you and like peek their head in here. Maybe even something happened recently between the two of you. Having that 10 of Swords and then having Ace of Wands there, maybe something went down between the two of you, and they're like kind of trying to make up for it in some indirect way. where they're like, hey, you want to do this together, you want to like jump on this or like get involved, whatever. But then having that Eight of Cups, I don't think that you're going to go for this. So even though they're trying to connect with you and like wanting that opportunity, having that Eight of Cups can be like, you feel like the same cycle is going to repeat and you don't want to do it again. That doesn't mean that there aren't times that you have fun with this person. I'm also seeing there be an emotional connection that you have with them. You can even have like a strong soul tie connection with this person. But this feels like it's not about the person at their core. It's about their behavior and how they're showing up or how they're failing to show up. And that this feels like it's not a good situation for you anymore. I see them too kind of like leaving you hanging as well. Yeah, I see you and this person is like your timeline is splitting off. Like your timelines are both splitting away from each other is what it seems if you make this decision, which feels almost like you're actually just responding to the way that you've been feeling about this all along. That doesn't mean you don't have a real connection with this person. I'm definitely seeing you have a connection with them. It doesn't mean that you don't have opportunity. I'm seeing it is, but it feels kind of like the story always ends the same with them. And it can just be something where this doesn't feel good for you. It doesn't feel like a smart decision for you to be involved with them anymore. And it can be something where this is just coming from a place of discernment and pattern recognition. This is not a judgment on that other person. It's not anything like that. I see it more so just being like, you know what the cycle is between the two of you, and it can be something you don't want to repeat anymore. So you can actually just be like letting go of the relationship. Or you can be changing the way that you were involved with it, where it's like, not really something that you participate in the same way. Because it's not like you have to be like, I'm never talking to you again. Or, I mean, you could. It's whatever you want to do. But I see this as more so like, I think you're emotionally moving on from this person, like distancing yourself from this person. And only because this has happened so many times that it is now, it would be you lacking discernment if you kept doing this, because obviously this is not a good situation for you. So it would just be like fighting the energy if you weren't making this move. So I don't even feel like this is a time when it's like, well, what choice are you going to make? What direction are you going to go in? I feel like there's only one way really to respond to this situation that actually feels like you're doing it justice and doing right by yourself given the circumstance. And that's really what this is about. So I feel kind of like you've been left with no other option other than to do this, because if you were to keep doing this to yourself, it would be like some type of self-neglect for you to keep involving yourself like this, or keep like taking the bait from this person. Not to be like that, because I'm not seeing this person have any like trying to like do something harmful. I just think that they're in a bit of a different place than you, and you guys are like kind of disconnected from each other. And I think this person can like operate in a bit of a different way, and that you can't really communicate very well with them either. I feel like they're just not in that space to be able to do that. I'm seeing them definitely really care about you. And they're also somebody that they can really value the friendship as well. It just seems like this isn't a good situation for you. You can't have a conversation, and things can change because they're like not open to that. So there's nothing really left for you to do other than to kind of disengage from them and not keep like taking this on again and again. Because maybe there's also something that is deeper that you want to experience, that this feels kind of shallow to you, and you may want to invest in something that's going to feel deeper and more satisfying for you as far as like a connection. But if you're spending your time doing this, you're not getting what you want, you're not getting what you need, you don't really like it, and also you're taking away from other connections that you could be putting your energy into. All right, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting and tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.